What hypertension or high blood pressure is a condition in which the arteries have persistently elevated blood pressure. And so when the heart beat, it pumps the blood through the whole body, through the arteries. So the higher the blood pressure is, the more the heart has to work, the heart has to pump. So it's a preventable disease that can be controlled, by diet, exercise, and medication. So
now I'm going to throw a question at you, Doc. Has to do with blood pressures and heart rates and all of that. If you're running like 119, 120, something like this, with maybe a 70, but you got a pulse rate of like 97, what's your comment to that? What is that patient, what is that person looking at as a possible, why is his heart rate so high?
Heart rate of 97?
Yeah.
I'll let Dr. Knapp.
Okay.
Well, clearly the blood pressure 119 over 70 is okay.
Fantastic.
A lot of our patients do run heart rates that are close to 100. When the heart rate gets over 120, we call it sinus tachycardia. Then we become concerned. But if your question is, why would you run a heart rate of 100 on a regular basis? The vast majority of times it's because of deconditioning, multiple comorbidities. Usually it's someone that is not walking, has high body weight, multiple comorbidities like diabetes and things like that. So we do an EKG, make sure it's just a regular rhythm. And one of the questions I'm going to ask Dr. Gary is about some of the dietary treatments, non-pharmacologic treatments of blood pressure. And in this situation, we also, not only do we have Dr. Gary's expertise, but we talked about our dietary referrals too last month. So the VA set up not only to put you in a blood pressure class, but we also send you to the dietitian for a low-salt diet. And if you come and see me, and probably most of the physicians that work there, we bug you to death to exercise. And that means walking 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So in the older age group, that doesn't mean going to the gym and lifting weights. That means just getting out and walking your 30 minutes a day.
Doctor, we need to take a commercial break, so
Yes,
we can put that on hold just for a second. If you would like to call and ask questions, the number again is 622-WOCA. 622-9622 is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. This is The Source, WOCA.
What I'll do is...
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
What's going on at Palm Chevrolet? Well, I'd like to share a couple things with you. Chevy's introducing a couple opportunities that usually don't show up until later in the year. You might as well take advantage of them now. First, they released a fantastic owner loyalty program that applies to almost every vehicle in the lineup, with additional discounts of up to $2,000 above the standard rebates. And if you want low payments, the Cruise has a $159 a month lease offer. And listen to this truck offer. How about $279 a month? Now, that's not a base truck. That's a Silverado 1500 double cab LT1, $279 a month. That's unheard of. So stop in and shop at Palm Chevy. It's fast, it's friendly, and it's fun. It's the Palm Chevrolet way. 2300 Southwest College Road in Ocala, or visit palmchevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads.
36-month, 36,000-mile leases. Cruise, $24.39 to its signing. Silverado, $42.19 to its signing. Subject to Ally credit approval, tax tag, and $699 doc fee extra. $2,000 owner loyalty on 14 Tahoe. See dealer for details.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
Greetings, good citizens. Join me, Duke of York, and Margaret of Anjou at the 28th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 25th and 26th, and January 31st through February 2nd at the Alachua County Fairgrounds.
Join the colourful cast of characters on the streets of Hogtown, where you'll find medieval merriment for the whole family.
Cheer on royal knights as they joust for the ladies' honour, watch a living chess match, or enjoy performances by gypsy dancers and magicians.
Then wander through the marketplace, where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares.
Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair.
We're not just the horse capital of the world. Ocala Marion County is now the hoops capital, too, thanks to the 2013 national champion CF Patriots basketball team. The McDonald All-State Agency brings you the reigning kings of the court all season long right here on WOCA. Coach Tim Ryan and the Patriots look to defend their national crown and get set to host the state tournament this coming spring. The McDonald All-State Agency brings you CF basketball only on WOCA, the source.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
Do black patent leather shoes really reflect up?
Find out at the Ocala Civic Theater's delightful musical comedy running from February 6th to March 2nd.
Watch from late bloomer Eddie Ryan's first day of Catholic school to the senior prom.
This musical romp goes through confession, poodle skirts, guardian angels, gym class, rock and roll, and the birds and the bees.
Do black patent leather shoes really reflect up? Is set for performances from February 6th till March 2nd at the Ocala Civic Theater. It's a divine comedy directed by Greg Thompson.
Who?
Yeah, that guy. He's an actor or something.
I don't know.
Last year, over $1 billion, that's a B with 9 zeros, was left on the table from taxes not done right. But thankfully, H&R Block tax preparers have over 100 hours of training to help you get your piece of the billion back. Come visit us and our friends at H&R Block this tax season at the Paddock Mall, Marion Oaks, and Triple Crown shopping centers to make sure you get your maximum refund. Don't forget to check with your favorite nonprofit for referral information where applicable.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
All right, 20 minutes before 10 o'clock, let's return to Veterans News. Robert Wood will start us off right now, and then we'll go back to the doctor.
Well, folks,
and
welcome
you have a phone
back.
call, by the way.
Welcome back, folks. We got Dr. Knapp and his staff of personnel that are here. But before we go back to Dr. Knapp, I'd like to remind people that we do have Palm Chevrolet and Palm Kia, who are very responsible people trying to look out for the people of Marion County, Ocala area, to make sure they have a vehicle that they can choose that is of quality GM motor division. You can go there to Palm Kia or Palm Chevrolet, decide if you want a new or used vehicle. They'll be more than happy to work with you. Their staff of sales personnel want to be a friend, not a loud, boisterous person. So go by Palm Kia and Palm Chevrolet, here, located on Highway 200 here in Ocala. And now, Doc, I'm going to turn it back over to you at this point.
And you have a phone call, Doctor.
Oh,
okay. Let's go ahead to the phone.
great.
Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor, and everybody there.
Good morning.
In town here, if a vet wanted to go exercise, like the YMCA or a private facility, are there any places that would kind of like give them a special rate to just join the club, or some kind of a program that they can get involved in?
Well, I really I go to a local gym and I'm familiar with several of the gyms. I do not know of any gym that does that, but I will tell you that the VA up in Gainesville has recreational therapy, and we've placed some of our veterans into classes, swimming classes, and things like that. It's a long way to drive. Let me ask Shannon, our administrator, whether she has any idea about that. Shannon, do you have any information on whether any of the local gyms give veterans a break?
I have not heard of that. I don't know.
I understand, Doc, that they can possibly go to the YMCA, DeLuca's YMCA on the east side of Ocala, and I think they will get a special introductory offer for a short time. I don't know that for a positive fact, but I would suggest they contact or call them and talk to them. But I don't know of any special fees, and Shannon knows probably more about that than I do.
Okay, I think that's all the information.
Thank you for your answer.
Okay, you're welcome. Before we go in with Dr. Gary, Robert came up with an idea at our commercial that I just wanted to go over for a second. Our monthly visits here on the radio station, I think we're getting the idea that in the old days, patients would go to the doctor and the doctor would tell them what to do. And our society has changed. Individuals are coming to the doctor, and we feel our job is to empower you to take care of your health. And that's why we have classes, blood pressure cuffs we send you home with, glucose monitors. So I think we feel that the goal is not to live the longest, but to have the best quality of life and be able to really take care of yourself.
The philosophy of the VA has definitely changed in a positive sense in that level. I've seen it since I've been involved in the VA, and it hasn't been that long ago. But it's been fabulous, the way I've been treated health-wise.
All right.
Right, things have really changed.
That's my own personal opinion, sir.
Well, last month when we were here, there was some question about guidelines for blood pressure and what defined hypertension and prehypertension. So let me ask Dr. Gary, what are some of the values we look for to define you as having hypertension that needs to be treated?
So hypertension, our blood pressure goal is usually less than 140/90. But for patients ages likely greater than 80 years, between 60 and 80 years old, the blood pressure goal is a little bit less, like 150/90. So pre-hypertension is considered blood pressure greater than 120/80.
Okay, very good. And you can imagine the vast majority of individuals over the age of 60 either have hypertension or prehypertension. I have prehypertension myself, running blood pressures 130, 135. We do some really neat things at the VA. One is ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, which most people are not familiar with, and I rarely order because I'm just not used to ordering the test, and that leads us into the question about white coat hypertension. So let me ask you about white coat hypertension and ambulatory blood pressure monitoring.
Okay, white coat hypertension is a phenomenon that is elevated blood pressure in the clinical setting. And what we mean by that is usually it happens when you have an appointment. When you go to your doctor's appointment, your blood pressure is elevated.
Well,
but
people are scared of the doctor.
Yes,
What
and
can you
that's
say?
the cause of it. It's mostly because of anxiety. Most people don't want to go to the doctor. So
They don't like to look at the truth.
Yeah. But it usually doesn't happen in any other setting, and that's why it's very important that you log your blood pressures or record your home blood pressures, because those are, they give more accurate readings than when you come to the doctor maybe once or twice a year and your blood pressure is elevated at that point.
And the other part is when you do write it down, don't try to fudge. Doctors can sense that real quick. They really know. And nurses know it very well, too.
Yes. So
I know that there's a lot of dietary causes of hypertension, and over-the-counter medications also can cause hypertension. My father, who's almost 90, ended up in the ER because he was taking over-the-counter cold medication and got his blood pressure over 200. So can you discuss some of the dietary causes of hypertension and some of the over-the-counter medications that you should be careful with if you do have hypertension?
As far as dietary causes, you mostly have to watch out for foods that are high in sodium or salt content. Usually canned foods or frozen, not necessarily frozen vegetables, but the frozen dinners are high in sodium content. So you just want to try and make sure that you watch your salt or sodium intake. And medications, like Dr. Knapp said, over the counter, a lot of cold medications like nasal decongestants can be the cause of high blood pressure. Other medications like NSAIDs, non-steroidal medications can cause hypertension or high blood pressure also. And there's other prescription medications that can cause high blood pressure. Alcohol use or nicotine use can also cause elevated blood pressures. Sometimes birth control or steroids can also elevate your blood pressure. So there's different things, different medications, over-the-counter medications, foods, and everything that can contribute to high blood pressure. Also, certain disease states like hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism can cause elevated levels of your blood pressure as well.
Well, Doc, I have a kind of a question. We run food through our office constantly for veterans, and we can't pick and choose foods that are diet proficient with low sodium and this kind of stuff. We usually make a recommendation that they wash their food if they can. Like soups, you can't, of course, unless you dilute it something furiously, and that still won't eliminate your sodium levels. But we try to tell everybody, if you're going to prepare foods and you have a sodium problem or a dietetic problem, you merely introduce water to eliminate some of your salt levels or preservatives in the food product. Is there any comment that you'd like to suggest to those dietarians?
Well, I think you're raising the question, Robert, that eating is very complex in our society.
Yes.
And Dr. Gary has mentioned there's a lot of common causes of that anyone would recognize of high sodium. For example, potato chips, pretzels. But she also mentioned other things like the fast foods or even soups. Mm-hmm. So I think the answer that I have for you is, and if we have a veteran who has trouble with salt, trouble with diet, the VA provides wonderful nutrition counseling, nutrition classes, blood pressure classes, and Shannon had reminded me, we even have a cooking class. So if you're a veteran who's living alone and you're perplexed by this question, you don't have to go to Gainesville for these classes. We have them right here at the clinic.
That's good.
And if you had come to my office and you had raised a lot of questions about diet and you're just not figuring it out and you're wondering about the sodium and your blood pressure is not well controlled, it's very easy to have you see our dietitian or be enrolled in our blood pressure class.
Hey, Doc, that's an interesting point when you say you can come and learn about the diets, the cooking, and so forth. But most of us, and I don't want to be a chauvinist, but I don't cook. My wife cooks. maybe the wife should come. And
Oh, no
see.
question. We always invite the wife. Yesterday I was in my office enrolling people in dietary classes, and I always look at the wife and say, you come. I will mention one thing, though, as you mentioned this, about 50% of the time when we enroll somebody in our nutritional classes, they don't show up because they get the idea, well, maybe they know everything. Well, we don't. I don't know everything because reading food labels is very complex. And I shop with my wife on the weekend. We both read a label and come up with exactly the opposite idea of whether we should eat this or not. So I know how complex it is.
We all do that.
Yeah, you got that right.
I did want to, Hank had asked me to say a few words about primary and secondary hypertension, which is a very good topic. And Dr. Gary has mentioned some of the things that can contribute to hypertension. And let's put a number on it. 75% of the time, individuals just have primary hypertension. Nothing really caused it. But about a quarter of the time, we can come up with something in their environment or in their health that's a real problem. Let me group them into two groups. One is dietary or medications. And Dr. Gary's mentioned the over-the-counter non-steroidal drugs such as ibuprofen, Motrin. Those can really raise your blood pressure through a number of mechanisms. Secondary, very high salt diet. And I cringe with potato chips. People tell me they eat potato chips before they go to bed because you know that's full of salt. Thirdly is alcohol. Alcohol raises your blood pressure. Fourthly, caffeine. And oftentimes our patients in the morning will drink 2 cups of caffeine and then go ahead and smoke a couple cigarettes before they come in to get their blood pressure checked. And it's kind of useless because you know the blood pressure is going to be high. And there are some surgically correctable causes of blood pressure, and they're very rare. We don't see them. One's a tumor in the adrenal glands called pheochromocytoma. Others, another tumor called primary aldosteronism, and I see that about once a year. We do check for that if we can't control the blood pressure. But I think common things being common, we're looking at diet, medications. I do want to mention one thing, though. We have heightened awareness in this country about sleep apnea. Yes. It's usually individuals that are heavy. You snore. They all snore. And they stop breathing at night. And you're very sleepy during the day. And in the old days, we recognized people that were 300 or 400 pounds with sleep apnea, but the average patient now that I diagnose with sleep apnea is probably only about 200, 220 pounds. So it's very common. And if you're getting unrestful sleep at night and you're waking up through the night and you're sleepy all day, that's one of the correctable causes of hypertension. So I remind myself every day in the clinic that if I have a veteran who's on 3 medications and I can't control their blood pressure, I talk to them about sleep apnea, and the VA does now do a sleep test through the community. So if your wife is telling you snore and you stop breathing and you're sleepy all day, and your blood pressure's high and you have the phenotype of being fairly large, that's something to mention to your doctor when you come into the clinic.
What happens, doctor, if your blood pressure is controlled with medication? You have a sleep apnea, but it's controlled because you got your mask. You exercise 15-20 minutes every other day, but you don't do it because it's cold out there. And yeah, I'm not using it.
What were you, in the Navy?
Shut up. And when you got your mask and you do your sleeping thing and everything, and then you still wake up and you're still tired because you've also taken your medication at night. You got your pills to keep your dreams and stuff in your PTSD thing that's going on, and then in the middle of the day after you get your morning activities, all your meetings and everything, is you get home and you're going to take a little light nap in the afternoon before your next meeting and your other series of stuff that you do. What's the scoop on that?
Well, a good question. Keep in mind that in this country, about 50% of the individuals with sleep apnea that are put on treatment cannot wear the treatment or take the treatment. So 50% of the individuals don't get the benefit. But you're telling me that you already are treated and you're still sleepy during the day. So the number one question is, if you are being treated successfully for your sleep apnea, why are you sleepy? And the very first thing we would do is repeat your sleep test and find out what the heck's going on at night. Because if you're on nasal CPAP and it's working at night for your sleep apnea, you should wake up in the morning feeling great, have lots of energy, and your wife should be able to get a lot of work out of you. And if you're sleepy and your wife's telling you not doing well, we need to repeat the test. Because lots of times, Curly, as we all get older, the pressure needs to go up on the machine. So usually it's about every few years that you need to repeat that, just to make sure that you're getting the benefit.
I have a question for you, because I'm probably in denial when it comes down to what are the indicators of hypertension. Because a lot of people say, well, hypertension, well, that's like a wacko, you're retarded or crazy or something. I don't know what they are, but I got a good idea what they may be. But maybe you want to talk to that.
Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror? I am looking in the mirror. That's why I'm afraid. Is it attitude? Is it,
But what are the complications or the indications of
Indications.
Okay.
Well, I always laugh at the, because I get my I don't have blood pressure cuff at home, which I should, and I always get my blood pressure checked at Walmart or Publix on the weekend. And when you look at the signs, they always tell you, it's important to know what your blood pressure is, because the sign of hypertension is none. It's not any signs.
Silent killer.
It's a silent killer, as Curly just said, and I always say the first sign of knowing hypertension that's not treated is a stroke or a heart attack, which is not good. So it's important for all of us as we get older, not for someone who's 20 or 30 years old, but as you get older, to know what your blood pressure is. So even though, I have a lot of friends that are physicians that are in their 60s that don't go to the doctor because they're completely healthy and they know they have no medical problems. Well, that's not correct. And so it's important as we all get older to occasionally get your blood pressure checked. Make sure you're not one of these silent hypertensives that's going to have a stroke next week.
Yeah.
Get your blood sugar checked. Get your weight checked. Know what your cholesterol is. And go to the doctor once a year and find out.
Okay, Doc, we have a phone call. This will be about the last one for today, sir.
Yeah, and we got about 2 minutes left. Good morning. You're on the air with the doctor.
Good morning, Doctor. I'm a veteran calling in the show, and good morning to all my fellow veterans. I just wanted to thank all of the medical people that are listening in the Ocala area and the doctor that's in the studio for reaching out, and I can hear the compassionate in the doctor's heart, and also the lady that spoke earlier. I can hear the fact they do care. So it shows just because people in the medical profession doesn't mean they're always in touch with the humanity of a patient. I would just say on a larger scale and scope that what we're facing here in the United States is a tremendous burden on the Veterans Administration, because if you look at our economy, that the economy up until the from the 40s through the late 70s, people had jobs where healthcare was provided through their negotiation of working for the corporation. And today, many veterans don't have health care because they don't work for companies that provide it. So what that's done to us as a nation is put a lot of stress on the VA, which was not there before. So we have to look at what causes the flooding of patients to the VA, whereas even though it's a right that we veterans thought we were going to be entitled to. So I wanted to thank the people in the studio, but also please take a look at the analysis of the economy, because those are contributing health factors. So
we do appreciate your concern and your consideration. Our engineer is telling us that we're shutting down. He says we're running our mouth way too long. Folks, we'd like to thank everybody in the Ocala and Marion County region, and we do appreciate the phone calls that you make to us. But thank you again for listening to us, and God bless America.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. No end in sight to the ice-cold air hovering over two-thirds of the nation. Forecasters say the deep freeze will hang on through next week. Wind chill advisories are up in 24 states. Justin Bieber was arrested in Miami Beach for allegedly drag racing his Lamborghini against a Ferrari and for driving under the influence. Police say he did not pass a field sobriety test. Greyhound says when a passenger attacked a bus driver, sending the bus careening into a median on an Arizona interstate, other passengers rushed to the driver's aid and stopped it before it ran into oncoming traffic. 23 people were hurt, 3 seriously. Reviews are mixed on the decision by Virginia's Attorney General to fight the state's ban on same-sex marriage. He says Virginia should be on the right side of history, but the Conservative Family Foundation calls the decision disappointing and frightening. First Lady Michelle Obama is heading to a local Subway today to launch a joint effort to encourage kids to eat healthier foods. Subway is adding new items to its kids' menu, including apples and non-fat milk. This is ABC News.
The fact is, you can't make spring hurry up and get here, but you can make sure you're good and ready for it. Get $1,000 off RSX 850i Gator utility vehicles and $500 off one family tractors with a purchase of 2 John Deere or Frontier brand implements.